Hello, welcome to My Fav Thing, a show we do here at Rock Paper Shotgun, where I chat to one of my lovely colleagues about a brand new video game they've been playing to find out their favourite thing about it. Today I'm chatting to Alice B about Scorn, a disgusting first-person survival horror puzzle game all about shoving your horrible arms into rancid flesh machines. Gross. Enjoy. Hey Alice, how's it going?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm very, very excited to hear about Scorn, which we've been playing recently. So what is your favourite thing about this gross-looking video game?
My favourite thing about Scorn is that it does not help you at all with anything at any point. It's a difficult game to explain what it is. It's a first-person, I guess a survival horror. It has puzzles as well.
Right.
But it's mostly about that you are just dumped into this world and are given no help or instruction whatsoever.
So there's no dialogue in this game at all, is that right?
Yeah, there's no dialogue, there's nothing. Like, you are a kind of humanoid manlet, like some sort of, humanoid biped, and you get birthed out of like a sack in the desert, kind of like Neo in the Matrix.
Amazing.
And then you stumble through the desert and you turn up at this huge biomechanical sort of, it feels a bit like a factory or some kind of citadel that has a production line. It's huge, big sprawling thing. And it's just like, there you go, what are you going to do? And you have to sort of navigate through it because, what else can you do?
Yeah.
You're naked, you've just been born, you've got to kind of make your way through this place. And when you arrive, it's already kind of decaying. It's obviously been decades, the windows are all broken, everything's falling in, and it's sort of half derelict and abandoned. So it's like really fascinating in that sense to play. It doesn't do any of the normal stuff that we're used to games doing now to help us. So it won't rack focus on the corridor you should go down or you should be aiming for. It doesn't really have a HUD. It doesn't have any quest markers. It doesn't highlight things you can interact with until you're standing on top of them. So you just have to sort of learn what machines look like in the world.
How interesting.
There's no dialogue. So if you come across like a big weird machine, your character will not say anything like, looks like some sort of key. Maybe if I find the two missing parts, it'll open up a way forward. You just have to come to that conclusion yourself.
It's like the opposite of Horizon Zero Dawn, from the sounds of it. Just
Indeed,
absolutely no help whatsoever. So what are the things you actually spend your time doing then in Scorn?
Walking around, looking at things. There is a rhythm to the game. The prologue is probably the hardest bit because that's your first introduction to the game and that's teaching you how Scorn kind of is.
Okay.
And because you don't know how it is at that point, it's really hard to sort of figure out how you should be behaving. But the rhythm of the game is you turn up in a sort of new area of the game. You get in a lift and it'll take you to like the next bit kind of thing. And then you look around and there'll be some kind of MacGuffin thing you need for that section to progress forward. So it might be, that's the difference is because it's deliberately quite kind of body horror, quite extreme, squick, gross kind of game. It's very fleshy. Everything's a bit phallic or a bit kind of, womby, shades of womb to the whole thing. So you'll turn up in an area and your job is to look around, press buttons to see what the machines do, and then be like, right, so I need to get this door open so I can get that thing to make this machine go. So the MacGuffins you're after might be like, oh, I need to get 3 rings onto this key device to turn on this kind of phallic flower machine that will then spaff out a dying man who has, the thing I need, the next bit. Or I need to find 3 switches that will tear holes in the side of a big kind of cow worm brood mother that has the face of a Pac-Man ghost. Or I need to find 3 Krang from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mutants to put in a blender.
Is that the thing you were carrying around in the footage you sent to me? Just that red pile of goo?
that's the thing. It's quite obscure. It won't help you at all at any point. So one of the bits of footage I sent you is just like 2 minutes of me running around with this dead thing, being like, I don't know where I'm supposed to put this.
It's quite a cursed video file to look at before 9 in the morning, I will admit to that. Sat there with your morning coffee. Does all of this gooey, fleshy visual motifs, does it add anything to the game? Does it give it a sense of flavour, or does it just feel gross and unnecessary?
That's why I like it, because it feels very intentional, and it feels like, I don't know what all the machines in this do, but I am really sure that someone at the developer does. Like, they know what all this is for and what each thing does, and it feels really intentional in a way that a lot of kind of gross out body horror stuff isn't.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that, like, actually the fleshy bits that you've seen in the trailer, like, don't get me wrong, all the machines in it are kind of made of like tendons and bones, and they're all biomechanical, like part machine, part kind of brain matter.
Yeah.
But the most of the bits you see in the trailer are from the first, like the early section of the game, where the machine has been overrun with a kind of parasite that they sort of look like uncooked chicken sausages, and they form into like big links and chains, and they become like part architecture, part kind of living, kind of breeding thing. And then once you get through that, you go to a higher level that looks a little bit more prestige-y. It's still kind of weird, and there's a lot of gross stuff to find there, but it's kind of stone and lots of like statues of people 69ing, and so it's kind of a mirror of like the kind of chaotic like parasite breeding and like overrunning the place. It's kind of a mirror of the systematized sort of stuff you find on the higher level. So it's quite interesting. Like, there are definitely themes in play, Liam, you know?
Well, yeah, it sounds like there's themes, yeah. I mean, I'm curious to play it purely because of how it looks. So it's also interesting to hear that it has this obscure puzzle element to it. How did you find playing a game that was so withholding? Was it nice to return to a game like this?
That's what I really liked about it, is because it, like, if you just slow down and pay attention to the machines and the puzzles in there, and if you just take the time to look and understand, you know, where you are on the map and orient yourself, you can find stuff. Or if you take the time to like work out what happens when I push this button, what happens when I do this, then the puzzles and stuff isn't the kind of hard bit of the game. The hard bit is the survival kind of shooty bit, which is the bit I found annoying, and it's the bit that makes me hold back from fully kind of recommending it. I think it's a 10 out of 10 example of like level design, but I also can't say that you'll enjoy it if you buy it.
Right, okay. Because that survival element, because you have like a weird flesh gun as well, don't you? And you can...
Yeah, you have a gun where you like you have kind of weapons, and you can switch between your different guns by basically swapping out the kind of chamber bit on a kind of fleshy handle thing. So your gun's modular, but you have very limited ammo. You are you're very weak, very squishy. You go down as easily as the statues in the game, Liam, and the enemies all spit. There are different enemies. It's the uncooked chicken sausages. There are like raw roast chickens. There are big kind of battering rams. There's a boss fight and stuff, and it's very like, you are clearly meant to avoid fights, but there are certain points where the game makes it very difficult to do that, and it becomes a case of like reloading until you can sort of cheese and run past. Okay. And that's very frustrating. It needs a dodge. If it had a dodge, that would solve a lot of problems. But there's even, there's a boss fight where you just have to spend all your time strafing. There are things about the combat that make it very annoying and very frustrating, where the world and the puzzles and the way you kind of traverse everything is very well designed and very intentional.
Yeah, it sounds like it would have been, great if it was literally just letting you poke around this horrible flesh prison.
Yeah.
Loading mutants up into machines. It's almost a shame it has this gun.
Yeah, I'd love it if they did like a discovery tour mode, like Assassin's Creed.
Just explaining what all the machines do.
Yeah.
I kind of want to have a follow-up game that's a city builder where you can just, put down all of the 69 statues and stuff and all the flesh monsters.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, build this horrible flesh city. Oh, cool. Right, so in general then, sounds like if you enjoy obtuse puzzle games, this is a good shout, but be prepared for some pretty manky combat.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's a perfect Game Pass game because you
Of
can
course.
play it, you can have a go. I'm really glad it's on Games Pass because I want loads of people to play it. But also, I think it's good that people should be able to just put it down if they don't like it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for joining me. It's great to hear about Scorn, a game that has disgusted me for about a year now. So it's good to know it doesn't disappoint in that area.
No, yeah, you're very welcome. I hope you have fun. Moist, fleshy fun with Scorn.
I'm happy to stop talking about this game now. Thank you very much for watching. If you're interested in playing Scorn, let me know in the comments below. For all your PC gaming needs, make sure to check out rockpapershotgun.com, and I will see you very soon.